Which conspiracy theory is so believable that it might be true? But first, make sure to subscribe for daily AskReddit videos. Apple started the meme about AirPods being expensive as a marketing ploy. PETA is controlled opposition run by the meat industry designed to make animal rights activists look bad. The reason Disney came out with a movie called Frozen was so that when you Google Disney Frozen you would get information about the movie and not websites talking about Walt Disney's body being frozen. Cops go on wires and leave random police sightings to cause people to slow without actually having to stay and check on people. Michael Jordan's first retirement was actually a suspension by the NBA because of his gambling. The real reason Apple removed the headphone jack was to try to remove Square Pay systems as a competitor for Apple Pay. Edit. First gold comment. Thanks guys. Rob Gronkowski didn't actually injure his groin after scoring his 69th career touchdown. He just thought it would be funny/appropriate. Snapchat worked with the FBI to popularize and secretly test and improve face recognition technology. We went from wow, this is like magic to this is totally normal in a few years, and there's no way that the technology isn't being by law enforcement. The development of the F-35 fighter jet is so over budget, so the military can fund other top secret projects without making a new line item on the budget. It's the only conspiracy theory I believe. Trader Joe's makes their parking lots small on purpose to make them seem more popular than they really are. Kyle Kinane. One of my favorites is that the government was behind #THROWBACKTHURSDAY in order to get us to digitize and upload pictures that they would not have had access to in order to improve age progression/facial recognition algorithms. Jeffrey Epstein is a Florida billionaire who probably is running an underage sex trafficking ring. Edit. Well, Epstein just got arrested for sex trafficking minors, so this is more a conspiracy fact, not a theory. Lol. A brief background. In 2007 dozens of underage women came forward saying Epstein was having sex with them in Florida. They also claimed that he passed the girls along to other elites and ran a sex ring/blackmailing service kinda. Trump, Bill Clinton, Kevin Spacey and Prince Andrew are all known associates of Epstein and would go on his plane dubbed Lalita Express to a private island in the Caribbean. What happened next was ridiculous. Epstein hired the best legal team ever, like as good as Odgers. Dershowitz was involved and all that. Acosta was the prosecutor against Epstein, and he is now appointed by Trump in his cabinet. Acosta gave Epstein the plea deal of his life. He was found guilty of one charge of sex with a minor, in spite of being accused by dozens of girls, and had to register as a sex offender. He got 13 months in jail, but he only served 10. Here is the kicker. He could leave jail 6 times a week to go work at his at-home office. He was supposed to go to prison, but stayed in a local jail for some reason. He was granted immunity. All co-conspirators in the case were given immunity. This means that, if further evidence comes out against other people with the case, they can't be prosecuted again. His house butler was found guilty of obstruction of justice regarding the evidence against Epstein. He got more jail time, years, than Epstein. The police commissioner on the case stepped down because he thought it was rigged. Miami Herald said it was the deal of a lifetime. Epstein is now free and still has billions of dollars. Acosta has told friends that he was scared to go against the powers that be because they would squash his career. This all happened in 2008, I think. The Dodge just reopened the case last month due to fuckery going on. Clinton and Trump, among other famous people like Kevin Spacey, have been documented flying on Epstein's plane to his infamous Lalita Express. A Miami judge just ruled last week literally that Epstein's case was illegal and violated law because Acosta did not consult the victims before bringing the plea deal. Multiple football World Cups have been influenced either by governments hosting them or other entities out for their own gain. 2002 South Korea/Japan and 1978 in Argentina are the two most obvious ones that come to mind. Consult the victims before bringing the plea deal. Long John Silver's is some kind of money laundering scheme on the basis that they have been open for as long as I can remember, but I have also literally never seen a busy Long John's. Toxic delusion that I ironically entertain? Perhaps. Credit to /u/BreezeMac for this outstanding post on the Titanic/Olympic conspiracy/u/BreezeMac post. Another conspiracy thread, the Titanic/Olympic conspiracy. It has credibility because there is photographic evidence. It's really one of the only conspiracy theories I put much belief in. The sister ships and their third counterpart, the Britannic, were owned by White Star Line. The Olympic was put into service in June 1911. She collided with another ship, the HMS Hawke, in September of 1911, and both ships were badly damaged. The accident was a financial disaster for White Star Line, as they were found to be liable for the accident and had to pay for the damages to both ships and legal fees for court cases associated with the accident. Repairs on the Olympic took nearly 2 months, and parts intended for the Titanic, which was still being built during this time, had to be given to the Olympic instead. Only a few weeks after being returned to service, the Olympic suffered another minor incident where one of the propellers broke off, and pieces intended for the Titanic were once again cannibalized. At this point, the Olympic was looking like more and more of a money drain for the White Star Line, though its achievement in not actually sinking despite a major accident that should have sunk it cemented the Olympic class liner's reputation as unsinkable, but I'll get back to that in a moment. The Titanic was finally finished and ready to leave port on her maiden voyage on April 10, 1912, having been delayed while new parts were made and delivered to replace the ones needed for the Olympic, and from there we all know the story. She went first to France, and then to Ireland, and then began her trek across the Atlantic to New York, during which she struck an iceberg, and after nearly 2 hours, sank, taking 1,500 souls with her to a cold, watery grave that would not be seen again by human eyes for nearly 100 years. The Olympic went on to have a 24-year career as a successful ocean liner. She served during World War I, where she earned the nickname Old Reliable for her impenetrable hull, and then in 1919 she was re-outfitted to be a civilian passenger ship, and served as an ocean liner until 1935, when she was retired from the fleet. Her ownership changed hands several times, and she was eventually dismantled and sold for scrap metal. But what if it wasn't the Titanic that sank? What if it was actually the Olympic? What if it was a ploy to remove a faulty ship that was costing them more money than she was bringing in for White Star Line and cash in on her £1 million insurance policy? So here is the conspiracy theory. At some point after the Titanic was completed, they switched the identities of the ships. The new Titanic was actually the Olympic, and the Olympic was actually the brand spanking new Titanic, fresh from the construction yard with zero problems and zero history. They intended for the Titanic to suffer some sort of failure that would result in the destruction of the problem ship, so they could collect the insurance money. I doubt they intended to also cause the deaths of 1,500 people. The events that transpired which led to the sinking of the Titanic possibly happened purely by chance, and the iceberg wasn't part of their plan. That is, they didn't hire the captain to specifically ram the iceberg to sink the ship or anything like that. They probably had another plan involving the repairs that had already been made on the ship when it collided with the HMS Hawke. In any case, it wasn't really the Titanic that left port on April 10, 1912, it was the Olympic. After the sinking of the Titanic, White Star Line received a tidy sum of £1 million in insurance money, or £89,289,575 in today's money. This, of course, ruined the insurer, Lloyd's of London. There's an additional conspiracy theory that American financier and banker JP Morgan was in on this whole scheme. His company, JP Morgan & Co., financed the International Mercantile Marine Company in the hopes of becoming rich off of sea travel, but this turned out to be a bad investment because of the unpredictable nature of sea travel and travelers themselves. JP Morgan or one of his associates may have schemed with White Star Line, who was a subsidiary of this IMMC, in order to bankrupt the IMMC and allow JP Morgan & Co. to withdraw from the IMMC without breaking a contract. I cannot provide evidence for this beyond speculation. However, I can provide evidence that backs up my claim that the two ships were switched, and it was the Olympic who sank, not the Titanic. This is an image of the RMS Olympic in dry dock. I'm currently unable to locate a picture of the Olympic while under construction with the name clear, so you can be sure it definitely is the Olympic. I can only assume such a photo doesn't exist. Check out the very top row of portholes in the white railing. Count them. Look closely at the grouping of the last 5 portholes and how they are clustered with 2 close together, 1 set apart, and 2 more close together. This is an image of the RMS Titanic being built. Look at the topmost portholes in the railing on the Titanic. Count them too. Look at the last 5 portholes and see that they are evenly spaced apart. This is a picture of the Titanic before leaving on its maiden voyage. Check out the portholes in question. Here is the Olympic in New York after the sinking of the Titanic. There is no reason why the shipbuilders would have changed the portholes on the Titanic when they were nearly done building it. That piece was not one of the pieces cannibalized from the Titanic to repair the Olympic that would have needed to be replaced by a different piece. The only answer is that the ship in the final picture, which is a ship that left port on April 10th, 1912, and was met with a terrible fate near Newfoundland, was not the Titanic, but actually the Olympic. You can find pictures from newspapers further supporting this, as they clearly show the name of the ship and the wrong number/orientation of portholes. I doubt we'll ever know one way or another, since the wreck at the bottom of the Atlantic is quickly being covered with sediment, and will be completely buried, and inaccessible soon, and pieces of the ship that was retired in 1935 and dismantled in 1937 are both difficult to find and difficult to authenticate, and anybody who might be able to either confirm or deny this theory are all dead. Share your story in the comments below. Please remember to like the video and subscribe for daily AskReddit videos. Make sure you turn on post notifications to know when we upload.